Ben Mitchell.
How's it going? How's it going? First and foremost, thank you for having me on your podcast. I saw that your latest guest was Darren Disrow. I actually deployed with him to HKI. He was one of my former soldiers.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Small world, dude.
Yeah, it is a small world.
Yeah.
So
I actually, I found him. I don't know if you know Sergeant First Class Lawson. I guess they work together now, and that's how I found him.
Oh yeah, I know him.
Yeah. So, yeah, dude, I really appreciate it. So everybody that's watching, Ben's actually in the middle of a deployment, and it's really great of him to come. And this also kind of shows the evolution of like how Iraq from the early days till now, like where we're at with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm currently on my 6th deployment right now. So
Yeah.
So
dude, and then you're an officer now too, right?
Yes, I was actually in the process of submitting my OCS packet during my deployment to HKIA. So,
oh wow. So what's it like, the difference? And then you also change MOSs. So like, what's the difference? Like, how do you like it?
Well, major difference is the pay, obviously. I want to say crossed over when I was a platoon sergeant, so it's not really different in leadership styles and responsibilities. It's more the officer side is more about planning the training and making sure everything's good to go, whereas the NCOs would actually facilitate the training and everything. Two complete mindsets between the infantry and air defense artillery. At times I do miss the infantry world, but my knees thank me for crossing over. It's a lot easier on the knees. So,
do you like, what's the major difference that you see from like the air defense compared to like an NCO in the infantry?
The main difference would just be the mission set. Whereas, infantry, you go out, you're paid to close with and engage the enemy. Whereas air defense, you're more or less paid to allow freedom of action and freedom of maneuver for ground forces by intercepting aerial threats such as rockets, artillery, mortars, UAS, or any fixed wing, rotary wing assets out there. So,
obviously, like, air defense is probably a huge thing now. I'm not telling you to get like too much into the weeds, but like, for people that know, like, you're talking about like y'all intercept like ballistic missiles, right, and stuff.
Yeah. So without getting too in the weeds, there's two. So you have like SHORAD, which is short range, which is what I'm doing. So that's like Avengers and counter rocket artillery mortar systems. Then you have HIMAD, which is like Patriot and THAAD, which those are the ones that intercept ballistic missiles and everything.
Cool. But yeah, man, I mean, 6 deployments is a long list of deployments, and compared to like our counterparts in the soft community, man, you're talking about like years, 9 months. They're long. I think your shortest one was probably the withdrawal, right?
Yes, it was the shortest one. I want to say that was about 18 days. So
damn. Okay. So like, you joined in what, 2009 maybe?
Yeah, 2008, right after high school, and then I graduated OSIT around 2009.
Did you always plan on getting into the Army, or did you look at another branch?
I was always leaning towards the Army. I feel like the Army's the one that actually sought me out to initially enlist. And then, of course, the Marines, they see what the Army's pulling in, so they try to pull you away from the Army. But I'm like, nah, you didn't pay attention to me until after the Army paid attention to me. So,
right.
So naturally, I went Army.
Did you have like a lot of patriotism? Because like, if you think about it, I mean, we're 2001, the start of the GWOT. You're talking about 7 years.
Yeah, 9/11 happened when I was about in 6th grade. So, yeah, it was very powerful to see that on the TV, like live action. And it kind of just carried with me throughout the rest of my grade school and high school career.
Yeah. And that is that what leaned you towards like, hey, I want to go fight the enemy and join the infantry?
Pretty much, yeah. That and with the future prospect of going to college and paying for it by myself. So that would have been helping that decision.
Did you how was like basic training and OSET for you? Because I mean, people don't know. I mean, those earlier days, right? We were like, hey, you're gonna go to Iraq or Afghanistan. So like, was it physically tough for you, or were you like a stud in high school, so it was pretty easy, or no?
No, I wasn't a stud at all. I was in the marching band. Um, so it was definitely physically tough. And at that point, that was the longest time I've been away from home. So just the mental and physical aspect of why is this guy yelling in my face? I thought I did what he wanted me to do, but apparently I have to do it better and faster. But yeah, they were like, everybody that's graduating here is probably going to end up in Afghanistan or Iraq in a year or two. So
Yeah, and did you? How did they pick the 11 series for you? Like when you were at OSET, like or before you went to OSET, like how did they pick it?
so when I joined, it was 11 X-ray, so infantry recruit, and then it just whenever you arrived at basic training, if the Army needed 11 Charlies, that batch of recruits was 11 Charlies. If the Army needed 11 Bravos, you'd be in 11 Bravo, or they just split it right down the middle, like hey, left side 11 Charlies, right side 11 Bravo. I was actually originally an 11 Bravo until I got hurt in basic training, and then they recycled me, and I got converted to an 11 Charlie.
How did you feel about it? You know, because the Charlies are like the redheaded stepchild, but they're also the smarter ones of the bunch. So
Yeah, I was like, what the heck is an 11 Charlie? What do you mean I have to do more? What do you mean my pack got heavier?
and like, hey, so like, can you get into like you're the first Charlie I've had on, so like how like what is the major difference here? Like you go through like the basic Bravo stuff and then you go into the mortar stuff, or what?
Yeah, so when I went through, it was pretty much you do everything the 11 Bravos do, and then you have like 2 to 4 additional weeks of training on the mortar systems. So that anywhere from in placing the weapon, uh, like firing the weapon, tearing it down, and like within time standards. So we had like a lot of time hacks. So like initial setup could have been anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute, depending on how, like what you wanted to score. Um, but yeah, it was a lot of work. Like they made us in place and take down the guns a lot during basic training.
Right. And when you were at, like in the Mortarmen school, were the instructors, or I don't know if they're drill sergeants or instructors then, are they like getting on the mindset like, hey, as soon as you leave here, maybe like in 2-3 months, you guys are probably going to deploy somewhere?
Yeah, they were very upfront with it, especially once they started dropping where we were going. So like they're like, "Hey, you're going to 101st. You're probably going to deploy within 2 months. Have fun." I'm like, "Damn, that sucks." Um, but I want to say I had about a year before I deployed, so that I kind of enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Whereas like some people went to the 82nd and they deployed right away. It all just depends on where you got stationed.
How did you feel that you were going to go to the 101st, man? We're talking about one of the premier infantry units in the Army.
Uh, I was excited. Um, very excited because I was like, oh, cool. You know, I grew up watching Band of Brothers and all the other um, kind of typical military movies that people could watch. I'm like, 101st, that's where I want to go. It's great. Plus, it was closer to my hometown. So,
Right. How so like day one, you get to your unit, Fort Campbell. What's it? What's obviously you do the check-in, and then some random E5 usually picks y'all up, right? And then
yes.
you go to the battalion, and then they assign you to the company. How did they pick you to go to, like, did you go to a line company or did you go to HHC or what?
Uh, so, you know how it is. First sergeants and sergeant majors are in charge of the manning. So
Mm-hmm.
when I got picked up from replacement, they took me over to the brigade. Brigade assigned me to 133 Cav, which was the Cav squadron at the time, in 3rd Brigade, 101st. And then they kind of just put me in Apache troop at the time, which was Cav scouts, and the only infantrymen there were mortarmen. So kind of just luck of the draw.
Yeah. How was that, like being in like a lonely infantryman with a bunch of Cav scouts?
We definitely had to up the ante a lot. I wasn't really a good soldier to start out with. I had my problems, but like no matter what, we'd always band together against the Cav Scouts. Like they would try to enter our like little mortar dungeon, and then we just start trading fists and stuff. You know, not trying to hurt anybody, but just for the heck of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just friendly rivalry. And for
Yeah.
people, hey, if for people that are watching this, like younger soldiers or military people, hey, this guy's an officer now. So if he had a troubled career, you can make it too, right?
Yeah, definitely.
It's not how, hey, it's not how you start, it's how you finish, right?
Yeah, it's how you finish. Yeah.
Okay. So what's it like the first year? Because you get there like what, maybe early 2009 or what?
Yeah, 2009. It was a lot of getting acclimated to the group, and of course, Fort Campbell in January and February is kind of cold, so we're running a lot, getting into the mindset. I want to say that August and September into October, we went to JRTC. So that was my first introduction to Fort Polk. That's when I kind of turned it around a little bit, and it was eye opening. It's the first place that I've ever been to where it could rain without clouds being in the sky. And then we had our ball, and then we had pre-deployment leave, and then we deployed that following January. So,
Yeah. So let's get into it just a little bit. Like if you said you weren't that great of a soldier, but you kind of turned it around in JRTC, is somebody that motivated you, or did you find something in yourself, or you just kind of grew up, or what?
I think it was just that moment that everybody has, that moment of clarity. I'm like, I should probably turn it around because I'm going to be deployed soon. So I don't remember the exact moment, but I want to say it was with the help of my squad mates and platoon mates.
That's good, dude. All right. So how do you feel like we're how far into the months, like after, do you guys know when you go to JRTC, hey, you're going to Afghanistan, or did you know later, like after?
We knew prior. So back then it was pretty regimented with the patch chart. Everybody called it a patch chart. So um, usually within a couple of months of a unit returning, they already know when they're going to go back, just so that way they could plan out the training calendars and resource training and everything. But I want to say like June or July is when I found out that where we were going exactly.
So where are you going exactly? Can you say like the area, the AO?
For my first deployment, we went to Coast Province, Afghanistan. So like Kopspira, Camp Clark,
Uh-huh.
Salerno area. So
So what are you hearing about it from your NCOs?
um, well, there's like, oh, it's mountainous, it's gonna suck, it's gonna be this, gonna be that. I want to say, what was it? Zero Dark 30 um, came out that year, I think. No, it didn't. We had a report of like a suicide bomber that blew up by the defects. They were like, great, the defects gonna be destroyed when we get there. Luckily, it had a fresh coat of paint and it looked like nothing happened. But yeah, if you want to kind of get a hint at what I'm talking about, you can see the movie Zero Dark 30 and that little base where they had the final meeting before they launch everybody. That's
Yeah.
where it was.
Damn, I probably
But
need to rewatch it.
yeah, it's been a while. So
Yeah. So okay, so you're what, 19 years old at this time, and 19, right? Maybe.
I want to say 20 because I turned 21. 21 when I was over there. Yeah.
What is like pre-deployment leave like for you as a young man at
Uh,
that?
just going back home, hanging out with friends, not getting drunk because I wasn't of age. Um, just hanging out with the friends and just living it up. Be honest, visiting family.
Yeah. You didn't go to like Christmas leave or anything, did you? Or do y'all had block leave before that?
It tied into our block leave, so I was able to be home for Christmas and stuff.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
So January 2010. Let's paint the picture, man. Like you're getting on you're probably a E3 or a specialist. So you're getting on the plane. Like, what is going through your head, dude? Like, as an infantryman.
As an infantryman, you're looking forward to going over there, do your job. The reality doesn't even set in until you get over there. You're just like, oh, just a couple of airplane rides and stuff like that, and we'll be over there. So it's just a lot of sleeping on the aircraft because you want to beat the jet lag and everything.
Right.
Waking up when they give you the meals on the airplane. Stopping over in Germany. And then back then, Manis Kyrgyzstan was open, so we flew into Kyrgyzstan, did some training before we went to Bagram. So,
okay, yeah. What is Bagram like, man? Like, obviously it's a huge airfield.
It was huge, and it was surrounded by mountains. I don't know what it is with militaries putting bases in a big giant bowl surrounded by mountains, but.
How long are y'all there for till you go to your next spot?
I want to say it was a week or so because you had to do like a counter IED training. I want to say we zeroed our weapons just because the change in elevation from Fort Campbell, and then just waiting for a flight to go to the next stop. So about a week, I think.
Yeah. How like when you get to your, what is it called? Camp what?
Camp Clark.
So like when you first landing Camp Clark, I'm assuming y'all go by Chinook and like you land there. What's the tempo like? You guys got to do RIP, and so.
Yeah, it was a 2-week RIP. I want to say left seat, right seat. So like the first week is us sitting in the seat with them driving us around, showing us what to do, TTPs, how to, build rapport with the locals, stuff like that. And then the week after that, that's when we were driving around and they were just shadowing us just to make sure we didn't mess anything up. And then I want to say within the second week, that's when our forward support company, they left the wire at Camp Clark and they actually hit an IED right on the main road while we were gearing up to go out.
So was that like your moment, like, damn, we're actually in the middle of a war zone right now?
Yeah, that was like, oh wow, it is real. So,
well, I don't want to laugh because somebody got hurt. That's kind of messed up. But like, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, like a couple people got hurt. They got like TBIs and stuff, but nobody died from the IED. At least no Americans died. But I was like, damn. Well, that 2 weeks in, we're already getting blown up. That's great. So.
What is like y'all's mission? Like, I don't really know. Like, I've never interviewed anybody from the Cav that was in Afghanistan. So, like, what are y'all doing as the mortars with the Cav, right?
So, yeah, for the mortars, we're just doing what we usually do, just providing indirect fire support in support of maneuver forces. So, like, I'd be carrying the 60 millimeter mortar out on dismounted patrols. And as long as we didn't have Apaches or Kiowas flying overhead, the platoon leader on the ground would tell me, hey, we need you to shoot over here, and I'd shoot over there. But there were some times where we got into the thick of it, and the Apaches showed up, and I couldn't fire because they were overhead, and it really made me mad.
Hey, but when you do get to fire that little cannon, it feels good, though.
It does. It does feel good.
So, like, what is the mountains of Afghanistan like, dude? Like, is it crazy? Because obviously we went on the same deployment. Like, it's obviously way different. So, what's it like?
Yeah. The mountains are pretty gnarly. You think after a while you would get used to it, but no, it just kicks you in the chest every single time. Because you're like, oh, we'll just go up to this mountain and call again. No, we're going to go to this mountain. It's steeper and taller. I'm like, great, that's awesome. Just.
Do you remember what the mission was for you guys? Like, hey, are we doing hearts and minds type stuff, or are we actually going to assault the enemy?
It was depending on where we were located at, because I know we had two platoons at Clark and then one at Cop Spiro. So Cop Spiro was pretty more like area denial, like interdiction, just root out the enemy and kill them. Whereas Camp Clark, we were more like, we're going to go out, show a force. If we run into trouble, we'll take care of it. A lot of weapons, like we would go out looking for weapons caches and other caches and stuff like that. Just kind of like degrade the enemy operations in the area.
So just a lot of present stuff, right? And then taking away caches and everything like that. Like, obviously, you guys are getting into it. I mean, everything that I've seen or whatever about the mountains of Afghanistan, like the fighters over there are fighters.
Oh yeah, yeah, and they come from all over.
And what is this? Is this the deployment you got your Purple Heart on, or a different one?
Yeah, that's my first deployment. Yeah.
Okay.
Lucky,
No, did you
number one.
did you get your Purple Heart on this one?
Yeah, on the 2010 deployment, yes.
Okay, so what happened, if you don't mind talking about that?
All right. Let's see. July 2010. It was during our platoon RIP phase. So up in Copspira, the CAV platoons would rotate out every 3 months or so. The mortars would stay up there until they get replaced for like going on mid-tour leave, or if they had to come off the line or something like that.
Yeah.
I was one of the mortarmen up there at the time. I want to say I was there about a month or so. And I just got back from mid-tour leave in March or April. I don't remember. It's a long time ago. So the CAV platoons were ripping out, which means one platoon would be on in the base, conducting base operations, while the other platoon would be out and about doing ambush. So I was out and about with the platoon on ambush, and it was the morning of July 3rd. The cops started taking indirect fire, and it's weird because I'm sitting on a mountain looking back at the cop because we had like a local security around us. So I'm facing the cop, and I'm seeing them take indirect fire. I'm like, well, this sucks. Never seen this happen before. And then the cop starts returning fire, and then a little while later, I want to say, OP East started taking contact from the Pakistan side of the border, and then OP Yellow, which is where we had our sniper team at, they started taking contact, and then the CAV platoon was split into two. So one section was on a different hilltop, and I was on a hilltop with the other section. Mm-hmm. The other section started taking contact, so they wanted me to shoot in support of the other section because the enemy was too close for their mortars to shoot. So I had to shoot over their heads. And Sergeant Sneed told me after this, like, yeah, we could hear your rounds breaking the branches up on top of our heads. And I was just, if I would have like had a bad round, there'd probably be a fewer of them left today. So luckily, the fister that was with me was able to give me the correct distance to the flot. And then as soon as I opened fire with my 60, it felt like the whole world shifted towards me because, big heavy weapon, everybody shifts to that weapon and starts trying to take it out of the fight. At that point, I saw bullets kicking up around me. Masteller, who was my team leader, he threw me down and then climbed on top of me, kind of shield me because we were in the bald spot of a mountain, so there was nothing around me to take cover in.
Yeah.
And then they started assaulting our position. So we got the word to break contact. So it was Thornton, who was our fister, Masteller, myself, and the ANA. We broke contact, went back to the bottom of the hill to set up rear security so they don't squirt around the mountain and attack us while we're falling back or retreating. Mm-hmm. And then the rest of the section came down, and then Alpha section came down, and the sniper team from OPL came down. And then we linked back up at the cop. So after this, everybody's like smoking and joking, cleaning weapons and stuff.
Laughing, yeah.
Just laughing like, dude, we almost died. Just stuff like that. You know how people just laugh it off. Yeah. And I want to say later that night, after we got a grid on where they regrouped, we shot like some 120s at them. And we're like, okay, we should be done for the night. So I went back to my room, started watching The Guardian, and my squad leader, Sergeant Hagen, runs in like, hey, they have movement over by fake OP. I'm like, oh, great, this is great. Like, so what do they want? Oh, they want loom rounds. I'm like, okay, no bigs. I'll just pause the movie, go shoot some loom rounds, and come back. We shot some loom rounds, and then all hell broke loose that night. Got into a firefight. I forget how long it was, but I couldn't see my pole lights for some reason. So my buddy Matt Steller yelled at me. He's like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "Yeah, I can't see them." So I went from the gunner spot to the AG spot to help him. He got it on. We started shooting, and that's when I felt something hit my leg and knocked me on my bottom. I did like the self check, and that's when my finger went into the bullet wound, and I like literally, like all the adrenaline subsided, and I just felt a shooting pain through my leg.
Damn.
And at that point, nobody else knew what happened. Like Matt Stella turns out like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I think I got shot." He's like, "Are you fucking serious?" I'm like, "Yeah, I wouldn't lie about this. You know, there's a hole in my leg." So they kind of carried me to the aid station. I got a tourniquet on, and then they ran back out, and then I forget how long the firefight lasted. But later that night, I was able to get medevaced out. So
Shit,
July
dude.
3rd, 2010. Yeah.
Man, you were rolling through probably like 10 minutes of a good firefight with a gunshot wound on the leg.
Yeah.
Ah, dang, dude. So like, was the medics working on you on the 10 or no?
So like the aid station, yeah, they put the tourniquet on and they asked me what I needed. I'm like, "Hey, hit me with some of that morphine." It kind of, the tourniquet hurts. As soon as they ratchet down the tourniquet, it's like you forgot you were shot, just because
Dude,
the next greatest pain is the tourniquet. So they gave me the morphine. I'm just sitting there, just high out of my mind. They started they kept monitoring. Okay, so the medics were monitoring me, and that's when you hear the frantic voices on the radio of just people just getting shot at, them returning fire. They kind of manage chaos and excitement that's in a firefight.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you hear an explosion, and then everything went dead quiet. It was only after they started marching like the walking wounded in that I just learned that a RPG airbursted over one of our towers and sent shrapnel into everybody that was in that tower. So there was like 4 additional casualties that day. And then I want to say by that time they had QRF up in the air because they were like circling above us from what Charlie Company was telling us. But yeah, after that, I want to say it felt like forever, but First Sergeant Morin, who's a retired sergeant major now, he came up to me like, "Hey man, if you just wanted a day off, all you had to do was ask." So I was like, and then one of my other squad leaders in the mortar squad platoon, he was like, "Hey, you can't get no Purple Hearts in the Eagle Scouts." I'm like, "Oh my god, these guys are horrible," But yeah, I woke up the next morning at Fob Solano in the hospital. So
How
it
long
wasn't
were
bad.
you? How long were you in the hospital, or did you end up having to go to Germany or anything like that, or no?
No, so it was a very clean wound. Luckily, it went straight through. Just didn't hit any arteries or bones. It was just meat. So what they did was they packed it from both sides, and I swear they always picked a brand new medic to learn how to pack wounds from both sides.
Yep, that's true.
Oh man, they're like, it's just like Operation Don't Touch the Sides, and then immediately after that they would touch the sides. I'm like, I hate you. But I want to say I was in the hospital, but for about a couple weeks until they could get me back over to Camp Clark, and then it was another month and a half to 2 months where I was on like light duty, and then I was back at the COP in September or October. I don't remember, and that's where I finished out my deployment.
Did you know at this point, like, hey, I mean, what is your initial contract, like 3 or 4 years, 2, 3 years?
6 years, yeah.
Oh, damn. Okay, so my bad. So like, how do you feeling? Like, you're like, damn, I'm an infantry dude. I got shot. I did my I did my first deployment, and you're like, I obviously you got like a couple more years left. You're like, damn, I can get hurt again or no?
Yeah, that didn't even cross my mind. I was like, oh man, I wonder what the future has in store for me. Because at this point, I was still like, yeah, I'm going to do my first contract and get out. But I want to say towards the end of my deployment, that's when I found out I got selected to go to Fort Bliss, Texas, to become part of the 1st Armored Division. So,
And how did you get the like? How do you feel when you get the orders?
At first, I was like, "Where the hell is Fort Bliss, Texas? I've never heard of it." And like, "Oh, it's in El Paso." I'm like, "Where the hell is El Paso?" And then they're like, "Oh, you're on the border." I'm like, "I'm on the border? Are you serious? I just spent the last like year on a border of two countries. I don't want to be on the border again." Um, but I don't know. I just took it like a welcome change of pace after I accepted the reality that the Army controls me more than I would like to
Yeah.
admit. But
When
Fort
did
Bliss
you get?
wasn't bad.
When did you get to Fort Bliss?
Uh, June of 2011.
Okay, so you were there quite a while before. I mean, they were up for rotation, obviously, and they just came back from Iraq, like what, like
Mhm.
2010. So, like, how's the unit? Are they in that red phase, that white phase, or what?
So yeah, I was assigned to 136 HHC for the mortar platoon. They were just standing up strikers at that time. So they were doing OpNet, they were doing like Plas New Mexico training, Mortep, all this other stuff. But they were already slotted to go to Kandahar in 2012.
Hey, let me hold on before I get too far because the 101st people are gonna get mad at me if I don't say nothing. What did you first? What did you first think about Fort Bliss when you got there compared to the 101st?
Oh, Fort Bliss, I'm like, this place is trash. Like, we showed up, we were like, because a bunch of us got orders from the past deployment. So we all showed up. We're like, oh, you're 101st? Where were you in the 101st? And we started like, yeah, dude, awesome. Like, a bunch of us Rockasans showed up to Fort Bliss. We were rocking out our old like unit insignias and everything, and just being like, just moto all the time. And then they were like, oh wait, we changed. You're not wearing berets anymore. You're wearing PCs. And we're like, what are you? Are you serious? PCs? It's horrible. Um, but it was different. We were like, this is gross. We're gonna be riding around in vehicles all day. Like they don't ruck or run as much as we used to, because in the light infantry you're running like 5 days a week, running or rucking. And I was like, damn, this sucks. But,
Dude, everybody that I've had on that comes on from there, they're like, dude, it's like a big culture shock.
it is. It definitely is.
So, um, did you get promoted E5 yet or no?
No, I was still a specialist. I want to say I went to BLC in September of 2011, and then I got picked up December. I don't remember. I didn't
I'm,
want to say December. Yeah,
I'm showing your age here. It wasn't BLC, it was WOC.
yeah, yeah.
um,
Yep.
so you actually did find you did find your groove, dude, because you are getting promoted to sergeant and everything like that. Like, how did you take that knowledge that you had on your previous deployment and knowing that you're going to go to Kandahar and lead your soldiers?
Oh, um, I just tried to train them as hard as I could. We did a lot of like runs with the 120s to build up endurance and stuff. And then we never went over 2 miles with the 120 on us, but we did a lot of hill repeats, like hill sprints. Short, sweet cardio days, mixed in with some longer ones throughout the week. Um, just trying to build that endurance because I didn't know what our next deployment was going to be like. All I knew is the last deployment we were walking pretty much everywhere,
Yeah.
minus if we had vehicles sometimes. Um, but yeah, PT was a big help, and then just getting as much time as we could with our systems, so that way it was like second nature to us.
Did you know you were going to stay in HHC or like, or they thought they were going to move around the line, or the platoon sergeant was like, no, I like this guy, I'm going to keep him.
Well, platoon sergeant didn't really like me. I was supposed to go to the line company, but they put another sergeant down there, um, and they're like, "Well, if he passes height and weight, he'll stay down there. If he doesn't pass height and weight, we'll bring it back up." I was like, "Well, that you shouldn't base it off that. You should base it off knowledge." But okay, whatever.
That is weird.
So he ended up staying on the line. So I went back to um, back to HAC. And at this point, I was like, I was recently promoted to sergeant. Everybody hated me as a specialist because I was like, kind of not a dick, but I was a stickler as a specialist. And I was like, I would lead the extra PT sessions with them. So
Did you
and
feel
then
like you were like that as a specialist because you already had a deployment and everything like that?
they kind of like they definitely took what I had to say and stuff to heart, and they learned from it. But I was kind of not controlling as a specialist. That's not the right word. I was more aggressive as a specialist. So by the time I got promoted to a sergeant and I came back up, I already established myself. So I was kind of like more relaxed and less of a kind of dominant personality, if that makes sense.
No, it does. I mean, you also have the experience too, so you're also like, it's not just because it's because your personality is a butthole, but it's because like you have the experience and you're like, hey, we need to get right. I don't know what the platoon is like when you first get there compared to when we deployed. But I assume like I don't know if you want to speak on it, but like compared to like when you first got there to the December of 2012, like is there a noticeable difference in the platoon?
Yeah, so there was a lot of I would say turnover within the platoon, especially with the younger ranks. So we had a bunch of new privates and specialists. The only ranks that had any experience were staff sergeants in the sergeant first class, and maybe the PO. But even then, prior to deployment, a lot of them switched out with another group. So
Right.
it was kind of like the buck sergeants holding people together through this deployment. So
Yeah. So how do you feel like you're gonna be in the headquarters platoon on the deployment? Like, have you known what like it's like to be in the headquarters platoon, like on HAC? You know what I mean?
prior to this, no. I was like, okay, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna do missions? Are we gonna do like log pack security? What are we gonna do? So when we got over there, they're like, okay, well, half the platoon will do logistics security, like convoy security, and the
Yeah.
other half will be part of the BDOC. So tower guard, um, backscatter, MVACus, operations, swabbing detainees for gunshot residue, stuff like that. So yeah, they pretty much split the platoon into those two areas.
Man, so you're talking about a major difference from your first deployment to this one.
Yep, definitely.
How do you feel though? Because like you're not really. I'm not gonna say you're not doing infantry shit, but like it's obviously different.
Yeah, and I want to say my first squad leader kind of jinxed me because he's like, at the end of that deployment, like, you're never going to do the same thing that you just did again. Like, I don't think you're telling the truth. And I get on my next deployment, I'm like, dude was right. What the hell? So yeah, I was started the deployment pulling 12s in the tower for my second deployment.
Yeah.
So that was hard. 12 hours in a tower.
I mean, I hate to bring it up, but I am curious though. Like, were you there during the Staff Sergeant Thomas thing?
Yes, he was actually one of my section sergeants. So we were in the tent together. We'd do everything together. We would work out together. We'd like just talk about life, and he would like give me some advice. So I knew him very well.
Yeah, he was. Obviously, I was a brand new private when we deployed, and the interactions I had with him, it was always positive. Very unfortunate event of what happened, and if anybody is wondering what happened, you could probably just Google it, and his stuff will be up everywhere. But it's very sad how that went down. And how did it affect the platoon? Like, obviously, it does, right? You lose somebody of that magnitude, and it's like, are you guys kind of like, damn, this is like stupid now? Like, what we're doing?
Yeah, he definitely. Everybody in the platoon kind of like could depend on him a lot. He garnered a lot of respect from everybody that he came across, and like just losing him, and like during the deployment was a major morale killer. To the point where like some people had to be moved off of certain shifts to shift around because they were always on shift with him and stuff, and just feeling that void every day kind of wears down on you. But yeah, a lot of people felt it. And then I want to say towards the end of the deployment, they were able to facilitate some of us getting back in time to see him and stuff in San Antonio.
That's good.
Sam Houston. Yeah.
Yeah, it's man, and you know what sucks too, and I bring this up on like every podcast, is like major events like this, injuries and stuff like that happen, and there's nothing you can do besides just keep going on to the next mission or the next guard or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
So how did you feel after this deployment? Like you're in E5, you're like, damn, I didn't do half of the shit I did in my first deployment, like. And it's already, I think you're at your 6-year mark, right? No,
yeah,
you're close.
I just re-enlisted during that deployment too. So like, I did the paperwork prior to deploying, so that way I could just re-enlist on deployment and get the tax-free lump sum money. So, I mean, if it works, it works.
Yeah, no, it does. Yeah. So like, and you like the Army, right? Or like, obviously the deployment. This deployment's crazy compared to your first one, dude. So it's like
yeah,
you like it. So
it's not bad. I mean, as long as you show up in the right uniform at the right time in the right place with the right attitude, that solves 90% of the problems.
Yeah.
But at that point, I was like, maybe I'll give it another go around, see where it lands. And it lands me, and it landed me right back into Fort Campbell. So,
yeah. Did you re-enlist for Fort Campbell?
I did. Prior to re-enlistment, I was recently married to my wife, so I was like, okay, we'll do near far, so that way we're not spending a ton of money going back on leave or whatever, or a ton of money bringing people to come see us. So I want to say that re-enlistment was between Hawaii and Fort Campbell, and I should have picked Hawaii because
honestly, I would have picked Hawaii too, man. I mean, like if you went to Afghanistan or Iraq again, like at least you get to come back to paradise, dude. You know, you're not going to the middle of Kentucky. But hey, you're going back to Old Abe, you know, the screaming eagle. And how do you feel though? Like you're gonna go back to your spot?
I felt good. I'm like, okay, cool. I hope they put me back in 3rd Brigade because at this point I already have a Tory tattoo. It'd be pretty bad for me to show up in a different brigade with a Tory tattoo. So yeah, I got 3rd Brigade. I got stationed with HHC 1187. So one of the infantry battalions for 3rd Brigade. So I was lucky.
Shit, dude. When did you get there?
What's that?
When did you get there?
I got there December 2013.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah.
Dang. Man, you left like right after.
Yep.
Dang, I didn't. Yeah. I was expecting like 2014 or something. So, okay. So,
nope.
And then they came back. When did they come back from a deployment or something like that? Because I mean, like it's like 2 years like after that till you go again.
I don't remember.
Thank you for making it this far into the episode already. If you haven't done so, please go ahead and hit the subscription button. If you're listening on Spotify, go ahead and hit the follow. Please go ahead and follow all of our major social media: Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Please hit up my sponsor, Craig Fleming at Fleming's Cleaning. Go ahead and use code word GWOT13. It's still working if you're in the San Antonio area for residential or commercial carpet cleaning. And with that, let's continue the episode.
But I know we deployed in 2015. I can tell you that much. So
yeah, and you made staff sergeant during this time, right?
I made staff sergeant right before I PCS to Fort Campbell.
Okay, and how do you feel? Like, hey, I'm going to Campbell as a staff sergeant, right? A lot of us that made it that far are like, hey, when you make staff, you're like, all right, I'm something, you know. So
yeah, and then I showed up to my unit, and like we were not expecting a staff sergeant, we were expecting a sergeant. So now I'm in a mortar platoon with an overabundance of staff sergeants. So they kind of just made up a position for me. You're going to be Delta Company trainer for 81. So I'm like, that's made up, but I'll take it. So can't really argue about it. So
yeah. So wait, what is the Delta Company like of that unit? Like, what is it like of?
it was a heavy weapons company. So
Okay, that's good then.
Yeah.
So you obviously were doing train ups, man. You go to Fort Polk again for like your train up, your month long, and then right
Yep.
or no?
I believe we did, yeah.
Yeah. So like you're going back to Afghanistan. What RC South, RC East again, or what?
RC East. We went to like TV Gamberry, so it was like the new TAC East headquarters. Yeah.
And then how do you feel like now you're a staff sergeant? Like you're like, hey man, I'm freaking, you know.
I felt the same, just with more responsibility. Because this deployment was kind of weird because they were like, "Oh, you're not going. You're going. You're not going. We're just sending this company to go." So I started actually talking to civil affairs, and once I started getting my packet ready, that's when another NCO started having like family health issues or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you're deploying next week in his spot. I'm like, well, okay. So I deployed with them, attached to Bravo Company. So,
Oh shit. Dude, that is
yep.
so army, dude. Like, yeah, man, I'm not gonna be doing. Oh, I'm already excited in my expectation, and then boom, like, hey,
Yep.
you're rolling out, dude.
Mm-hmm.
What is this deployment like compared to like the last one you did with the 101st?
It was different. It was a lot of not patrols. It was just more hot gun, some observed fire training with the Fistlers.
Hey, what is hot gun?
It's just where we have our uh, mortar pit, like man 24/7, just in case we take indirect, we can shoot counter fires and stuff like that.
Okay.
So we'll have somebody always awake monitoring the radio. We were right next to the mortar pit too, in the transient housing area, so it was just a quick 10-second dash over there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because honestly, dude, I mean, like when you said hot gun, I have no idea what the hell you're talking about. I'm civilian, so I'm like, and I'm like, dude, there's civilians out here. I'm like, dude, I don't know what that is either.
Okay.
So you guys are just like, y'all shoot looms and shit, right? That's what y'all are doing.
Yeah, we could shoot a loom rounds, we could shoot HE and stuff like that, but
Yeah. So
nothing
yeah,
fancy.
so you were right, dude. Like your first deployment compared to these, like you're not gonna be doing what you did ever again, huh?
Correct. To this day, it just really makes me mad.
So okay, so like, all right, you're staff sergeant. You're on this deployment. Was it 9 months? And it's pretty.
Yep.
I'm not gonna say chill, but it's like relatively calm to the last two.
Yeah, pretty much. Relatively calm. We did have like a green on blue incident, where like just one ANA soldier lit up a gator filled with our soldiers. None of them got seriously wounded. They caught some like shrapnel and stuff, but they unloaded on the dude. So, yeah, I was like,
what's the protocol for stuff like that? I always hear about green on blue incidents, and like, okay, so for people that are wondering, we're talking about like, I think we're considered the green, right? And then like the blue, whatever.
yeah, we're blue, and then ANA would be green, just for like partners and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just pretty much a insider threat, pretty much. Yeah, it was weird that day because I was sitting in my tent. I forget what I was doing, but I hear like a lot of gunfire. I'm like, there's no range today. I didn't see anything scheduled today. And then that's when they started like passing through the net, like, hey, green on blue. That's when they spun up the QRF, isolated the whole area, started evacuating the wounded. And at that point, we'd have to talk to the ANA general, tell them what was going on. So it was kind of
what is it?
investigation.
What is it like though? You know what I mean? Because like I'm very curious. Like I've obviously I've never been in this situation, and it's like these guys are supposed to be our partner forces, and
Mhm.
obviously now we've never. I'm speaking for myself. I'm not talking to anybody else. I've never fully
Yeah.
trusted these guys, and now something like this kind of confirms my bias. So like for you guys
Mhm.
there, how do y'all feel? Like, hey, now we have to do. There's people relatively doing missions with these guys.
Yeah.
We have to be next to them. You know.
You want to like trust them like wholeheartedly, but you always have somebody behind you watching your six. So
Yeah.
just in case. But like we wouldn't put our weapons down around them or anything. I want to say uh, another. Um, I want to say 133 Cav also had a green on blue incident that deployment as well. I don't remember, but there was multiple green on blue incidents during that deployment throughout the whole brigade. Um,
Dude. And it's
yeah,
not
but it
it's
just
not all of them, you know. We're just kind of talking about like a
yeah
few that get into the
yeah just a small fraction.
yeah, damn, that's crazy, dude. And then you guys obviously they have to do the investigation. I'm talking about commanders talking to their commander, but you
Yep.
know, it's wild. So do you re-enlist again during this deployment?
I didn't re-enlist. I extended to meet the threshold to transfer my GI Bill over to my wife at the time. So,
Okay. And when did you decide to go to the 82nd, man?
well, that deployment, I gotta. I'm like, I should probably be thinking about a broadening assignment shortly. So I
Yeah.
emailed branch. I'm like, hey, what will it take to be on a become a drill sergeant? Like, well, we're looking at you for recruiting and drill. We're leaning towards recruiting. And at that point, I'm like, dude, no, not recruiting. I hate talking to people. I like yelling at people a little bit, but talking to people, no, I don't want it. It's like, who do I have to like kiss to get out of recruiting? And he ghosted me. And then the next week, my first sergeant comes up to me. He's like, "You've been plucked for recruiting." Hands me my orders. I'm like, "Are you serious? This is stupid." I told him this is not what I want. Um, and then I want to say that following October, Army Times did an article about how they were hurting for drill sergeants.
Well, I mean, the army is going to be the army.
Yeah,
So,
the Army's gonna army.
yeah, how long were you recruited for? Did you end up liking it or no?
I was a recruiter for 39 months, so pretty much I helped my battalion get ready for JRTC again, and then um, I went to recruiting school, came back. I was a recruiter for 39 months. Um, one of the most toxic environments I've ever been in, to be honest.
A recruiter?
I was stationed, yeah, as a recruiter. I was stationed in Atlanta. Um, the area is nice. There's a lot of stuff to do. Like we went to games. We got tickets to like the college bowl games.
Yeah.
I watched UCF stomp Auburn. That was pretty cool. Um, went to a bunch of concerts. A lot of stuff to do, but just being threatened with, you know, a bar to continue service every day because you're not putting people in the army was just not really what I liked.
Yeah, honestly, dude, that is like the weirdest thing the army does is like, hey, we're gonna put
Mhm.
pressure on you for some not making someone else's decision for them.
Yep. And then
Um,
like say like 1 month you would like enlist 5 people. The next month you would have no one, and they would call you a turd. Like, hey, you suck. I'm like, okay. I put everybody in last month though. Just
you know what? If you're a recruiter right now and you're watching this, dude, I'm pretty sure I feel so bad for you because it's probably harder with social media, man. Like social media is showing
mhm.
the bad part of the like, dude. I get people that were out of the army from like 2000 or not. They were never in the army. They were like in the Marines or the Air Force from like 2005, and they're like, man, I'd hate to be in the army right now. I'm like, and I'm like, dude, I don't care. I haven't been in forever. And I'm like, dude, honestly, like, it's just, yeah, right now is not a good time. And I know you
Yeah.
can't speak on that, but like me, I was like, dude, I am glad I'm not dealing with this shit right now.
Yeah. But yeah. And I want to say, towards the end of my recruiting career, they were like, "You got 4 choices to go to." I'm like, "I swear to God, if you tell me Fort Campbell again, I'm going to choke you." They're like, "You have Bliss, Hood, Stewart, and something else. And I was like, okay. And then I just graduated airborne school. I'm like, do you have anything in the airborne community so I can jump while I'm still young? They're like, oh, we just had a slot open up for 82nd. I'm like, I'll take that.
Damn.
Okay. So I was like, yes.
Hey, dude. Okay, so how old are you at this time?
At the end of recruiting?
Yeah.
Let's see. So recruiting. I had to do math now. That was 6 years ago. 29, 30. So.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you're prime age, man. You're prime age.
Yeah. Yep.
And then you're going. What is it like going to the 82nd though? Like that late in your career, dude.
It was another culture shock. A lot more running. Like, damn, this is horrible. Because you have like the regular op tempo, like it's like 101st on steroids, and then the jumper's timeline attached to it. So you're like, well, I have my normal duty, but then I have to show up for manifest call at 03 to potentially jump out of an airplane at noon. And then probably get home around 1900. But yeah, the op tempo in the 82nd is way different than the 101st. Just because they're always on RRF.
What is that?
Like when it's the immediate reaction force.
Okay.
I want to say when I got there in December 2019, I showed up. They're like, "Oh, you were originally supposed to be the 2504 HAC mortar platoon sergeant." I'm like, "Okay, what do you mean I was supposed to be?" He's like, "Well, they put somebody else in that slot." I'm like, "Oh my god!" So they walked me to 1504, and it's pouring rain. They walked me to 1504. I go see the sergeant major, and he's like, "I literally just did the same thing, but I have an 11 Bravo platoon sergeant slot open up." I'm like, "I'll take it." He's like, "You sure?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just getting tired of walking in the rain right now." So he's like, "Okay." So I get offered a platoon sergeant slot for a 11 Bravo rifle platoon in Chaos Company 1504. The next week, I want to say in 4 days from me getting there, we did a 12-mile ruck march. And then they went on holiday leave. And then I'm still getting my stuff together, like packing it. They're like, "Oh, yeah, nothing should happen during leave." I'm okay. And then that's when President Trump smoked Soleimani in Iraq.
Yeah.
And then we got the word, "Hey, we're deploying." We're like, what? Like they literally, the guy that was on Rear D with me, he calls me like, "Hey," he said the code word. I'm like, "What the hell does that even mean?" He's like, "You don't know what it means?" I'm like, "Dude, I literally just got here like 10 days ago. I don't know what that means."
Yeah.
Like, I haven't even finished integration yet. He's like, "Okay, well, start packing." So I ran inside, told my wife, "Hey, I'm deploying." She's like, "When?" I'm like, "I don't know, a week, 2 weeks?" Like, I don't know. It just depends on how fast we get out the door. And she's like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "I wish I was joking. This is a horrible joke. I wouldn't joke about this."
Yeah.
But started packing, and then I had soldiers scattered all over the country. I had a soldier in Korea getting married at that point. So, constant comms are like, "Where's everybody at?" I'm like, "Well, I got one in Korea. I don't know if he's going to make it or not."
And it's your fault.
it's like, so he ends up, because this was our 2020 deployment. It was short notice. I want to say the guy ends up coming back from Korea on Saturday, and then that Sunday we were on a plane to Kuwait. So,
damn. Hey, so
it was like about a week. Yeah.
Yeah. So what are y'all? So like what do they call it? The Green Corvette, right, or some crap like that? And
Yeah. That's what it is. Yep.
And like I only know that because all the guys that I've had on that were the 82nd. So that's the only reason I know.
Yep.
So you guys leave, man, and you're in Kuwait. Like, do you and then you end up Iraq, right? Like, how long are y'all there for? Like a month, 2 months?
In Iraq.
Yeah.
45 days, I think, for
damn.
my battalion.
And what is like? What are y'all doing? Like, are y'all like waiting for
We're
what?
We're just sitting there waiting for a mission set. We're just bolstering security. So we're like, at that point, we're doing PT. We're doing, my company commander, they made us do like Derby boards, EIB classes to keep mentally sharp. just God knows what. He never wanted to be caught with his pants down, so he'd always look for a mission. He was trying to volunteer us to act as extra security for the Patriot site that was just standing up at our site. I was like, sir, what are you doing? Like, that's not our mission. It's like, I don't care. We're doing something. I'm like, no, like, stop. And then, I think we were gone for a total of 5 months for that deployment.
Did anything
then,
like wild happen? Like, hey, there could be a ballistic missile threat or like a nuke or some shit?
No, nothing. It was totally chill while we were there, except for like we may have went into bunkers once or twice while we were there. That's because somebody thought they saw a drone fly overhead. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And damn, man, like what do you call it? IRF? I thought it was always called GRF, but
it depends. But yeah.
Yeah, dude, that's a hard, like, little, I don't even know what to call it, like, mission that the 82nd does, man. You're like constant alert all the freaking time.
Oh yeah, constant. And then I want to say we got back May 14th, which was my anniversary. That's the only reason why I remember that date. We got back. They put us on local leave, and then that June, that's when all the protests and the riots were happening. So they Green Corvetted us again. They called us in off of leave to draw weapons and bayonets to go to Washington, D.C. Luckily, the White Devils were the only ones that left. So 2504 left. They landed at the airport, and they're like, we don't even have spots to put you guys, and you're so far down on the totem pole. We don't need you guys, so stop. So they ended up mixing the rest of the brigade from getting into Washington. But yeah, they put us back on leave after that.
Army stories, man. I love them, dude. Honestly, the guy that I had on, Gregory Tejeda, he was on that. Well, he went to Iraq, and he went to do that Washington D.C. thing, and then getting into this the withdrawal. Well, obviously you're still on IRF, and you've already been activated like twice. You're like, damn, man, this is crazy. Like, the tempo is just wild, and you still have to go do PT at 5 o'clock in the morning, and and how are you even hearing anything? Because you're a platoon sergeant, so like, are you even hearing anything like, hey, Iraq, or we're gonna withdraw at Afghanistan? Obviously, it's on the news and stuff.
So I want to say like 2021 rolls around. They moved me from the line platoon that I was a platoon sergeant, and they finally moved me up to battalion mortars with HHC 1504. So we're doing that training, and of course you hear rumors and whispers because that they have, like, not for lack of better terms, like threat panels every now and then to keep like COAs going in case of certain events happening.
Right.
So like, hey, be prepared for this. We would do this. You would have to go on this. You'd have to deploy with this package and this. So our BC at the time, he was Lieutenant Colonel Harris, and then our battalion sergeant major was Command Sergeant Major Jordan, and both phenomenal leaders. I would go to hell and back with them. But like, they'll be like, hey, something might happen, something may not happen. Pretty much sleep in fear. So like, okay. So all my bags are still packed from the last time. So I want to say the second week of August, my guys just got back from doing a ruck, and they barely had time to change out of their wet boots when we got hit with another Green Corvette for HKIA.
So hey, what is HKIA?
So that's the Kabul International Airport. So the withdrawal and everything.
Okay, so you guys, hey, we're going to Kabul International Airport, and how long before you're like, hey, I got it, we're leaving, we're boots on the ground out?
Yeah. So at this point in time, our airfield at Fort Bragg was being repaved, so they had to bus us down to JBC, so Joint Base Charleston, and we flew out of there, and just getting over there was a pain. It was just a pain. I'm pretty sure everybody else had way better service than I did. But like we took off, and they were experiencing some sort of issue, so they turned our flight around. We landed. They said they fixed the issue. We took back off. Same issue had occurred. We landed, and now we're just sitting on the tarmac outside the aircraft, getting rained on. And they pulled out a new aircraft. We finally took off, and then by the time we landed in Germany, they had to spin up a new crew and revalidate the flight plan to go to Afghanistan. But yeah, there was so much ammo on our aircraft that we couldn't land in certain countries.
Yeah.
So we got into the Middle East. We got into the Middle East, and like, hey, we'll be landing here shortly. I'm like, okay, cool. So I fell asleep. Well, I woke up an hour later. We were still in the air. I'm like, why are we still flying? And we ended up landing in Kuwait. I was like, what's going on? And I heard like we almost ran. We were on fumes. I'm like, what the hell? This is horrible.
Hey, so let me ask you a question. So when you're on IRF, like you're obviously, so you said you had ammo on the plane. Is that like a normal thing? Like y'all pack up all the ammo and stuff?
Yeah. So like during the spin up process, they issue you ammo.
Yeah.
And then like, so you're carrying your like basic combat load. Depending on what position you have, you'll have like your radios and everything.
Yeah.
You'll have like a light anti-tank weapons if need be. And then they had a bunch of artillery rounds and mortar rounds as well. So
Okay. Cool.
because we didn't know what we were walking into, so we had a plan for every occasion.
And what is like the packing list? How long are y'all planned to be in a spot? Like, do they have like a minimum plan, or you just what?
Yeah, so they publish like a packing list, like, hey, this is just what you need to have just in case. So we packed B bags, we packed rucksacks, assault packs. But by the time we took off, we only had our assault packs and rucksacks. So our B bags stayed at JBC, whereas some people actually got their B bags into Kabul, and now they had to find a way to get them out amidst all the chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you go to Kuwait.
Yep.
What are you? Do you guys get off the plane, or do you are like just refueling and we're going straight to the Kabul, or what? Or,
We were refueling, and I believe they allowed a couple of us platoon sergeants to get off to get food for everybody. So we ended up raiding we went to the DFAC and asked nicely, like, hey, we're en route to Afghanistan. Our guys are hungry. We need food. And like, well, how much do you need? And they're like, oh, we need this many plates. They're like, okay. So they facilitated us with drinks and plates and stuff. And then we were back in the air within like an hour or so.
okay, what do you got? Like, since you're, dude, this is good because you're high ranking up there. So it's like, what are they? What is the commander telling y'all? Like, hey, have they told y'all anything? Like, hey, what we're gonna do when we get there, or what?
Pretty much, our mission was to secure the airfield, push back the crowds of civilians so that they don't interfere with operations like follow-on forces to help secure, and also the landing and takeoff of aircraft. Because I'm pretty sure you've seen the footages of them just storming the aircraft, climbing on everything, and so by the time we got there, I want to say it was that following week, maybe Wednesday or Thursday. I don't remember. It was all a blur. They had that initial containment, and they pushed them back to like the actual traditional border of the airport. So it was a lot better by the time we got there. But we linked up, and then they moved me to the south side of the airport with my mortars and my personnel. So we were kind of just beefing up what security forces they had there already.
Okay.
Just providing a deterrence with our mortars. And then each battalion had their own area to keep be in charge of. So it wasn't like we weren't running around with our heads cut off. So
yeah. So all right. So I'm trying to paint the picture here. So Kabul International Airport is huge, right? And
yes.
do you see crowds like right in front of you, or?
So the initial place where I was at to the south, we had some crowds, but not a big crowds like Abbey Gate had, or any other major gates. Ours was more like a vehicle gate that they would send convoys out to go find pockets of like American citizens or other foreign nationals to get out. So that's what like the British utilized that gate. Other embassies utilized that gate to get in. We were just overlooking the crowd to make sure that they were able to enter and leave without any serious impacts by the crowds.
So it's pretty chaotic because of the crowds. Like is there like a checkpoint that the Afghans are allowed to walk to see if they're allowed to get on the planes or no?
So it was like a multi-layered checkpoint. So like the Taliban had the outer perimeter. It was just weird working with them.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so you could see the Taliban.
Yeah, I could see the Taliban. Everybody could see the Taliban. Like, wow, this is weird.
What?
The Taliban kind of did their screening, but they were kind of apprehensive at first at what we would do if they were just out like overtly like injure civilians and stuff like that. But they would do their screening and they would pass people through, kind of keep the order and stuff. And then they would enter the checkpoints. And then just depending on the day, that would kind of dictate what kind of gates were open. There's a lot of times where, like, from what I was told, that some citizens, like some civilians that were working the gates, they would show up to the gate like, wow, this is crazy. I don't feel like opening this gate today. So they had to open up a different gate to facilitate the flow of personnel through that gate.
So civilians on whose side? Our side or theirs?
Our side. So like we like the civilian contractors that were there, they would actually help run the gates. So it's not just straight military personnel because we were charged with the overall security of the installation.
Yeah, so we're talking about like the gun contractors out there, like those guys.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
cool. And then, man, I cannot believe the Taliban is like right there in front of you. Like I'm looking at my fence right now, and I'm like, dude, they're like right there. That's what y'all are experiencing, right?
Yep.
Some these guys that are ruthless, and we're talking about they're like maybe 100 feet from you now.
Yeah, 100 feet. In some instances, there were times where they would wander through an open gate and not run into, but like stop right in front of like our forces. And then you would hear like the spot reports getting called up like, hey, there's like 5 Taliban on bicycles that just rolled through this gate. They stopped, we looked at each other, and they turned around and left. So,
dude,
it was crazy.
It sounds crazy.
Yeah. And then I want to say Taliban's main focus was to make sure that ISIS-K didn't get through and pick a fight with us because, it would just exacerbate this whole situation.
Dude, I'm learning so much from you right now. Okay, so even like the Taliban and ISIS, like, okay, so like Taliban's like, hey, ISIS is not allowed over here too.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, dude. Dude, I cannot believe the enemy that we've been fighting with for like 20 years. Now we're partnering with them to make sure another terrorist organization is not getting through a gate,
Yeah, it's crazy. I never thought in my whole career that would happen.
Oh my God, dude. And okay, so like what is a day-to-day thing? Like, hey, you checking on your squads, you guys have a specific section guarding stuff?
Yeah, so for a couple of days we were in the south, and we do have a specific. We go up, we take turns on the tower that was overlooking the vehicle gate. We would partner with like the local security forces that was there. It was a crash course on their weapons, how to use them and stuff. And then like later on in that deployment, we got moved up north to the north side of the compound, and we just established like patterns of life for the eventual withdrawal. So that way, when we did withdraw, it looked like nothing out of the ordinary. But it was weird because like we got to the north side and we started observing like the mountainside. You could see obvious observation posts that were manned by ISIS-K and stuff up there. And we report that up to higher, and then they come out here and they'll look at it and they're like, wow, we didn't know that. And then they go back and update their maps and stuff. So
damn, so y'all could have got ambushed any moment.
Yeah, if they really wanted to, but I don't think they wanted to at that point in time,
Yeah.
just because then we wouldn't withdraw. We would just stay there and fight. Just
So did they kind of tell y'all like the Taliban is like on our side right now or no?
they did brief us like, hey, I know we've been at war with the Taliban for X amount of years. Don't engage them unless they start shooting at you. So there were some instances where I want to say one soldier shot some Taliban because they shot in the general direction of their soldier and they returned fire, which is self-defense. You can't
Yeah, yeah,
negate self-defense. We always had our ROE, but we weren't openly targeting them unless they were like they were displaying hostile intent towards us.
yeah.
Um,
Okay.
so
So the Taliban is still acting like the Taliban, just on the other side of the gate.
yeah, yeah. On the other side of the gate, they did their best to assert their dominance back over the people, the local people, and then some of their commanders were like, "Hey, don't engage the Americans, or else they're going to shoot back." So
Are they are do you see like are they like assaulting the civilians? Like how are they restoring order over there?
they would just beat them back with like whatever they had in their hands. Like they would fire rounds at them. They would beat them with like long wooden sticks, beat them back.
Yeah,
Just
it's like riot
you
stuff.
know, their take on riot control. Yeah. So
Yeah, yeah. Damn, that
um,
is wild, dude. Like I didn't know that, dude. I didn't know that we were. I'm not saying we were partners, but we were working with them during this time.
yeah, they kind of didn't want to pick a fight with us just because they're like, hey, the sooner we
Uh-huh.
help them facilitate their mission, the sooner the
Yeah.
Americans will leave. So they
What
didn't want to do anything openly. So
Yeah. So what happened? What happened during the Abbey Gate thing? Like with you and your
uh,
section?
so we were up north for that. I remember hearing an explosion. Like, well, that's out of the norm. And then just chaos ensued. Uh, I want to say some of our medical personnel went over to that gate to render aid. Um, and then obviously, you had to not flood the area, but help bolster the defense for
More
the
threats?
security. Yeah, more threats and stuff like that. So after that, we had a heightened response due to because usually they do stuff in conjunction with other attacks. So we didn't know if it was going to be a ground assault. We didn't know if it was going to be more suicide bombers, VBIDs, or anything. So
Do you know?
it was
Do you know
kind
if
of
that was the Taliban or was that the ISIS?
uh, I want to say it it was probably more of an ISIS, um,
Mhm.
but I don't remember who uh, claimed responsibility for the attack. Just because it was just chaos. It was total chaos. I remember hearing chatter about a potential attack earlier, but I didn't know where or whatever, like where if they had eyes on. Um, but yeah, at that
Dude,
point, I was just looking to my guys to make sure nothing happened to them.
yeah, yeah. Dude, this is wild, man. I can't believe and how do you feel, man? You've been to Afghanistan 3 times prior. Like how do you feel like
Mm-hmm.
this withdrawal is going? Like do you feel kind of
Uh,
like, man, what we did, it was kind of, you know what I mean? Like,
well, yeah, I know. I know. I had some. I was on the plane with some of the younger privates. They're like, "What did we even do over here?" And I know they didn't mean any ill will towards it, but for me to question that kind of like downplays the sacrifices of like my friends and stuff that didn't get to come home.
uh-huh,
Because at the end of the day, you're just fighting for the guys next to you.
right,
Um,
100%.
but it's just to witness something compared to like the withdrawal from Vietnam was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Um, and it's it's just weird because I thought I was going to spend my whole career going to Afghanistan, going back to Afghanistan, this, that, and the other. But
Yeah.
uh,
What did what is the atmosphere like when you guys get on the plane to leave? Like, what is the atmosphere like? How's everybody like looking? They look beat, you know what I mean? Like just
Oh,
tired
we
or
were
what?
tired. It was because in between civilian flights, we had to get rid of the non-essential personnel. So any like if you weren't a trigger puller or like medical staff, then we had to send you back to make room because they only allotted so many floor seats for every like each battalion to fly out. Um, so that night it was kind of a long night. So our phase withdrawal plan got kicked off, and we kicked it off that night. And it was literally like I started off on the north side where we were doing our patterns of life routine,
Yeah.
and then once we got the go ahead, we tore that down. We loaded up our up armored Toyota Hiluxes. I love Hiluxes, by the way. Um, uh, and then we just cruised to the actual taxiway, set up another mortar firing point there just to cover it. And then everybody just kind of withdrew in sequence, so that way it didn't create a vacuum for people who like finally sense like, oh, they're leaving, let's rush them. So
And
um,
this is like the middle of the night, right?
yeah, it was in the middle of the night because we had a cutoff of like midnight. We had to be out by midnight.
Oh wow.
Um,
So
so like
was that like the orders or was that like the truce agreement or something?
that's what the Taliban said. Hey, you have to be out by midnight, or it's going to be open season. Um, so yeah, we withdrew. We crammed those C-17s with everybody. So like we were sitting nut to butt on the ground. There's some people sitting on top of each other. It was very packed. It was definitely not a, a spacious flight on the way out. And
Did
then we just
they?
waited.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And then we just waited for the word to take off. So we take off. We took off in sequence because each battalion that was there had their own C-17, and we flew off.
Yeah. So did they ever tell y'all like, hey, this is the last day we're allowed to be here? So did they? You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Because like,
yeah, they briefed us, and then we made sure the lowest guy knew. Hey, like come say this hour. We have to start withdrawing. So um,
and what did that look like? The breakdown. Like, hey, did you still have some guys still out there guarding? And then like we slowly lowered our area of presence.
yeah, we had some people slowly like pack up, slowly withdrew and stuff to like because you had like different positions along the way. Um, we only had two positions. We had our initial northern MFP, and then we had the MFP that was on the taxiway.
Yeah.
So it was literally like we would withdraw to our MFP, and then the whole perimeter would collapse uh, sequentially. So we never lost any coverage of any given area at some time.
Right. What are you? What? So you guys get back on the C-17. I assume you guys go back to Kuwait.
Yeah, we flew back to Kuwait. We were there for 11 days, I think, waiting for
Uh-huh.
flights out. I want to say 11 days.
Yeah.
Because, yeah.
How are
Um,
you? Did Obviously it's just another day in the office, man. Like for you, like going through this, and but did you see it as a different way of coming back compared to the other times?
yeah, it was definitely a different, like, aura, different vibe coming back. Because you're like, we literally just closed out Afghanistan. Um, did, like, big, giant, non combatant evacuation. Um, um, and then just the mood was different. Like, the older guys were like, well, that's it. That's all she wrote. And then like the younger guys were like, what just happened? Like, it just they're just like
Yeah.
they're still processing it. Everybody was still processing it on the way home. Um, but yeah, it was definitely a different mood.
Yeah. And man, it's wild too. And I really appreciate you coming on because like even like where you're at right now, it's just like I still think like, hey, did the war really ever end? You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And man, it's just it starts to make sense of why things went down the way they did. Because I didn't know that there was like, hey, you guys got to be out of here at 12 midnight and
Mm-hmm.
all this. I didn't know that we were working with the Taliban, dude. And now I'm like, dude, it's like, like, like honestly, your episode right now, dude, it's gonna like shine a lot of light on people, dude.
And then one of my old friends from Fort Bliss, he found out I was over there, so he had me try to help him out and his agency. So that was crazy.
Oh, so like he was living in Afghanistan.
No, he wasn't living in Afghanistan. Adam Zafuto, he was working for an agency, and they were trying to help get linguists and their families out.
Oh, okay.
So he contacted me. He's like, "Hey, I heard you're over there." I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "How is it?" I'm like, "It's chaos." He's like, "Are you able to help facilitate some vetted personnel to get out?" I'm like, "I could try my best. I mean, I'll try."
Yeah.
So he would send me documents and stuff. I would go to like the division command post, talk to some sergeant major, and you see the look on their face like, "Why is this sergeant first class asking me questions about personnel?" I was like, "Hey, these people." I'll be like, "These people are at this gate. They got these many people with them. They're waiting. They're already vetted, fully vetted, and stuff like that." Like, we'll get to them when we get to them. I think we got like 12 families out. I think.
That's good.
Yeah, and then one of the major things that I learned was like there was like two different lists of vetted personnel, like linguists and their families floating around. You had the DoD list, and then you had the Department of State list. And
Yeah.
very rare did the same personnel line up with both lists. So there was a lot of breakdown on that. So
Damn, that's kind of weird too, because like you figure like during an evacuation like this, like we'd all be on the same page, you know?
yeah.
Dang, dude. So what? Okay, so there's a lot of guys that I've had on or I've just talked to, and they feel a certain type of way about how this went down. I'm not telling you, obviously, you can't. There's a lot of stuff you can say or cannot say. I'm just saying, like, what would you tell these people that are like, damn, we went over there for nothing. They're angry. You know what I mean? Like, what would you tell them about how
Yeah.
you were able to cope with this stuff, right? Like, we lose friends over there for nothing type stuff, you know?
Yeah. I'm still learning how to cope with it. But um, it just goes back to, I want to say, it's such a cop out too. It's like when stuff gets tough for America, we cut sling load faster than anybody else. Um, like just take a look at Vietnam, take a look at Afghanistan. We lose the wars back home before we lose the wars over in the actual countries themselves, just by popular opinion and stuff like that, and you know how it's portrayed in the media. But I know that we did some good all throughout my deployments. I've seen the progress that we made, and for it to be undone in a matter of months is just crazy.
Yeah. And obviously, we've all had our own personal struggles and stuff like that with like missing our family, the loss of friends, the anger of like how, like you said, man, honestly, what you said is like we lose the battle at home more than we do over in the country. That was awesome. What would
Yeah.
you tell what would you tell these guys that are still struggling from all this deployments
Uh,
and stuff like that?
I tell them to reach out to a buddy. I mean, I get hit up constantly. Um, like from my friends and stuff, they'll be like, "Hey man, you got time?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got time. Yeah, I got time for a friend." Because we're not, even though we might think we're alone, uh, there's always somebody we could talk to. You know, it doesn't have to be your wife, your spouse, or anything. You'd be just a brother in arm, a sister in arm, somebody that you know went through the same type of struggle. And it could be anywhere from like a 10-minute conversation to, "Hey, I'm going to talk to you for 3 hours." I'm like, "Okay, cool."
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Honestly, like I started this page, the channel, whatever, and I have so many dudes hit me up, and I don't even know who they are. I've never met them a day in my life, dude. And it's just like you said, we've all gone through the same struggles, and it kind of helps more than talking to somebody that's never been through it, you know.
Yeah.
And okay, one last question. So for the guys that struggle, that are still active, that are watching this, and they were struggling in the very beginning, and now we got this guy, he's an officer. What would you tell them? Like, hey, like career wise, like how to make it through? Because I mean, you went senior enlisted to now officer. So like, what would you tell them?
Like that they're still in, or like
yeah, they're still in. They're still
out?
in. They're like, hey
Okay.
man, I don't know if I'm gonna stay in. I might go officer. I might stay senior NCO.
I say it never hurts to try. I mean, during recruiting, I threw my threw my name in a lot of buckets, like SF. I went to SFAS, got med dropped due to an injury. Put in for my warrant packet. The CW3 that was supposed to write me a letter of rec said that like my recruiter NCRs are trash, but my 11 Charlie NCRs were amazing. But he didn't want to write me a letter of rec. I want to say it took me 3 or 4 times to submit my OCS packet to get approved because it stopped at one level or the other. Like, even during HKIA, I was non-deployable for 3 reasons. I recently had a surgery. I submitted my OCS packet. So if you submit your OCS packet, you're not deployable. And then I was also actively working a casualty assistance officer case, but I still deployed. And then when I came home, I found out that my iPerms didn't have my birth certificate, so they dropped me from my packet. So I had to resubmit my packet. And then here I am as an officer. So don't give up. Just because it doesn't work out the first time doesn't mean it's not going to work out the second time or the third. Just strive to reach your goals.
Yeah. All right. That's it, everybody. Ben Mitchell, everybody.
Thank you.